It's supposed to be me. You're wrong.
What
is that normally from?
It was in grade school. Remember they had the traveling.
Is it about drugs?
I think so. But maybe it's just about being nice. I just remember those people would come and they were like performance actors and they would come
it was like
put
the
on a play.
Wiggles.
Pretty much, yeah. And remember the
like,
pillars?
yeah.
It was like the pillars of
It was fun.
of caring. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I remember that song. If it is to be, it is up to me.
Was that in like elementary school or like
It was Mountain View.
4th through Mountain View? Okay.
Yeah, I remember being in the lunchroom.
So in that same gym, they always had this poster up that said, do you know what it says?
Got milk?
Oh, no. Not in the lunchroom, in the gym.
I always saw the Got Milk ads.
Yeah, they're all over in that lunchroom.
Yeah.
But in the gym, there's this poster that says, and it's like it was like hand painted and stuff by some kids in like 3rd grade or something. I don't know. It said, and I will never forget this, just because how silly it is. It's reach for the stars, not drugs.
Wow.
Don't reach for drugs, folks. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 170 of the Talking Rad podcast with your beautiful, lovely host, Thane.
Hi.
He's doing the turtle.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Sky.
Welcome, boys. Welcome to the show.
Disney Channel.
Tonight, I wanted to share a personal story. I'm kidding. I don't actually have one.
I thought we were about to get deep. Do you want me to like light a candle and play some like somber music?
I thought so, but I didn't have anything to actually say, and I just my words just kept coming out of my mouth, and I didn't know how to stop them.
Well, I got a few things we could talk about. How was your guys' Thanksgiving? And how was everyone else's Thanksgiving? We took a week off of the show because we were gone all last week, so it just did not make sense for us to film because we weren't here.
Sloppy toppy.
So
you had a good Thanksgiving then?
Yeah.
No.
I believe he was with his family, so
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous on that comment.
So you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah. No.
Help me.
No. It was average. It was okay.
Did you eat food?
Yeah, I ate food.
What's your guys' favorite Thanksgiving food that is gifted?
I mostly slept because food was good.
Okay, well, what's your favorite food for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, beef turkey.
Turkey?
I like the juicy turkey. We had both turkey and ham. What'd you guys have, huh? Get wrecked.
Both? I think that's like an average thing to do is have turkey and ham.
It's been a newer thing lately, I think. Just to have both turkey and ham.
What did you eat?
I didn't have ham.
Oh, get wrecked. Beer, beer, beer.
My favorite though.
Did you have fish like that episode of Everybody Loves Raymond?
No. I had turkey.
Nice.
My favorite thing though is hot apple pie and cold ice cream.
I didn't
That
have
sounds
hot.
lovely.
It's my favorite, without a doubt. I effing love it.
I did not have hot apple pie, but I had pumpkin pie and chocolate mousse.
I don't like cold apple pie that much, but hot apple pie with ice cream.
And whipped cream?
No, you don't need the whipped cream. You got ice cream.
Whipped cream.
That's
No.
just more cream to the
Whipped
pie.
cream.
You put that on pumpkin pie. That's fine.
Regular apple pie?
If you don't have ice cream, sure.
Whipped cream. I would put whipped cream on it anyway.
I'd probably put whipped cream on it anyway,
You guys
too.
are freaking monsters.
It's just extra cream.
You guys
Wanna
love
know
your
something?
cream, don't you?
You wanna know
Wink,
something?
wink. That meant what I meant it to mean.
Yeah, I want to
Sex things.
Whipped cream on the nipples.
You're eating a pie, dude.
That's my Thanksgiving.
It's an apple.
He's really.
It's an apple pie.
Sus time. It sounds like.
Like, literally, Thing goes to a family reunion.
Dude, bro, my nephew, he came over. He had a VR headset. I should have asked him, hey, can I try out your VR
You
headset?
didn't even try it?
Gives me a headache.
But I never
Gives you a
did. I
headache.
never asked. I was like, darn.
Brigham has 2 of them if you would like to participate.
I guess, yeah.
2 VRs?
Yeah.
I guess I could ask, like,
Can we both be in
Can-
VR together and VR chat together
um,
in the
wanna-
same room?
I do not want to recreate that episode of Black Mirror.
I want to be.
Wait, you don't have to bang your buddy.
No, yeah, I wasn't gonna do that.
But you could if you wanted.
I just
There's
wanted
nothing
to-
wrong with that.
I wanted to role play Hank from King of the Hill meeting Hatsune Miku and then them just having a chat to see where
Yeah.
it goes. I would be Hank and you could be Hatsune Miku, Thane.
I need to watch this clip now because I'm curious.
I made it up.
Oh,
what?
It's not a real thing.
Dang.
It's just something.
So
me
is
and Thane
that
have to
blue
do.
hair natural?
No, I'm Hank. You're Hatsune Miku. I don't know what
Okay,
Hatsune
let's
Miku would
just
be
see.
like.
How would you guys do it? Though? Let's practice. Pretend you got your VR headsets on.
All right.
So I guess you could say the line, is that blue hair?
No, I'm not gonna say that
Okay.
line. That's not what Hank would say. He'd be like, "Wow, you're sure something."
Huh?
He's not doing a very good job.
She sings. I can't.
She would probably be speaking Japanese though, and then Hank Hill
No,
would.
Hatsune Miku speaks English.
Oh, she does.
No,
Doesn't
she's
she not?
a Japanese.
I know she's Japanese, but she speaks English.
She speaks Japanese and dropkick my devil. So there
I'd
you
be
go.
like, "Are you one of them? What's like a silly way to say VTuber?"
You one of them sex robots?
No, he wouldn't say that.
Are you one of them
TV girls?
Japanese? Are you one of them
TV
Japanese
girls, maybe?
robots for lonely businessmen?
Are you one of them Japanese
Oh, speaking of,
anomoi
are you one of them Japanese cartoons?
Are you one of them Japanese cartoons that Bobby likes, or something like that? I want to find a Hatsune Miku role player, and I'll be Hank. I'm not the best.
No,
Hank.
you
I
want
will
us the
confirm
best-
that, but
You want to know something hilarious? There's a I can't remember his name, but there's a guy who's like he has like a rig, a VTuber rig, and his VTuber is Hank Hill, and he does a perfect Hank Hill impersonation.
I imagine the conversation would definitely escalate into propane just because Hank would
Yeah.
naturally do that. And I think Hatsune Miku would be very interested in learning about it. That's my thought process. She may not be interested at first, but I think she'd progress to be interested in the idea of propane and propane accessories.
And then he talks about his dream about being the next Hokage.
No.
I'm gonna be the next Hokage.
I'm gonna be the next Hokage. Whoa!
Have you seen that VR?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side note: I found a CRT TV on Facebook, but it's pretty expensive.
What the freak? Why is it so expensive?
It's like $75.
Why are they wanting $75 for it?
I don't know. They're
It's not
terrible.
worth that.
CRT
No.
TV.
So like, I'm just hoping that our thrift store will have it.
You know what? Speaking of
look,
new
I'm
TVs,
curious.
I need to get a new
We do a
flat.
live looking.
I need to get a new flat screen because I'm seeing dead pixels on my 10-year-old TV.
Thane, do your parents have a CRT TV at their house by chance?
Oh, with the DVD player?
I don't
Yeah,
think
I was having a
so.
hard time finding.
I don't think
There
so.
was another.
When you started talking, I was like, freak, that's my monitor thing. There's a dead pixel in it. That sucks.
It's
But
my
yeah,
TV.
It sounds like it's the TV.
It's my TV. Those two monitors, they look fine, but I want to get new ones.
Yeah,
like,
they look freaking great because
Yeah.
I pick good stuff. Get right.
but I want new ones. I don't want the one with the curve
How
on
about
it.
this one, Sky? Literally this
Well,
one
what
right
if I-
here.
When was that one posted?
A week ago?
Oh, that one didn't pop up in
Ooh.
my feed.
What if I get the 4-monitor display?
It literally has the VHS thing that we were talking about too.
Yeah, that's the one.
$10.
Does it work?
Great for your retro gaming fun. Some consoles can't play any other way. Come test it or take it. VHS player broken. The TV turns on. Come test what you need.
Does it have the window, like the door of
Shout out
it?
to Natalie. No, it does not have the window actually.
Do you think that would matter for the video?
Maybe. This guy's playing Cyberpunk 2077 on his freaking CRT monitor. What the freak am I looking at? Shout out to Andrew.
Let me see. Let
A
me see.
beautiful CRT color monitor that works great and old school keyboard to go along with it. Great for retro gaming experience. This monitor needs adapters, but it will connect to a new computer and display brand new games as well. He's freaking playing Cyberpunk 2077 on this thing.
What the hell? What the Bobby?
Here, I'll zoom in
hell,
as much as
Bobby?
I can on my my phone. That's the
Yeah.
best you're gonna get, YouTube
Yeah.
viewers. Sorry.
Sorry,
It would
Spotify
make
viewers,
sense if he
listeners.
was playing something like Ultra Kill or Dusk, but like he's playing Cyberpunk.
It's literally Cyberpunk 2077. That's so weird. He's selling it for $120. It's way overpriced, Andrew, by the way, just letting you know. Dude, this one's a Sony Triniton, dude. Those are the good ones,
I
too.
think aren't those the ones that people jerk off to?
Yes, I have a Triniton at home at my parents' house.
How much are they selling that one for?
This
Like
is $25. What the
Really?
freak were you looking at?
I
I literally can't even find the one you were looking at. Oh, it's this one with the DVD player in it.
I typed in TV. Like, I literally went to...
From Heather?
Maybe it's from Heather.
Heather didn't even have information on it. She didn't have like a why is this the one you clicked on?
I didn't see those other ones. What did you go to?
I just typed in CRT TV and I hit local.
I went TV and homes and hit local.
Oh.
But maybe I need to be more specific.
Maybe you do. This one's literally free. It's a Panasonic.
I mean, it could be a pan of knuckles. I don't care. I just want to.
This guy's played Star Wars Battlefront on his.
What?
He's literally got a video of him playing it. Let's go!
Wow.
Shout out to Leo. Leo playing Battlefront, and I believe this Battlefront 1 as well.
I like these. I like these visuals on this visual podcast.
I'm being very, very descriptive,
Okay,
Thane. Okay.
I
Okay.
definitely did the
You
wrong
happy?
thing. Very much so did the wrong thing.
This one's got a VHS player. 13 or $50.
You brought. I'm sorry, Scott, but you brought this up.
It's kind of far away though.
All right. Well, while they're looking through
I can't
CRT
stop.
TVs,
I can't stop. It's kind of fun to keep scrolling.
We're
I love the
hopefully
people.
we're not trying to make you. Hopefully you'll stay on when we say Bethesda. Yeah, that statement they made against Mick Gordon.
Can you read it to me? I want to hear both of them.
Well, the
Dude,
Mick
this
Gordon.
is by your parents' house, by the way.
Oh, the Mick Gordon statement that he made like a. If you could put into pages, like he made like.
Oh, is it really
10-page response. It's so long.
Pokey.
If I had a TLDR of
bad.
it, he went into detail. He went in, and apparently one of the most egregious things is apparently they made threats to Mick Gordon.
Yikes.
Like it said they were gonna kill his pets. That's from Marty Stratton, one of
This is probably
the
the best one, 'cause it's in
heads
town.
at id. So Marty Stratton, where it all tipped off. So well before. So the Doom Eternal soundtrack was going to come out, and the people got it early from the special edition of the game, and they noticed that some of the tracks weren't mixed very
That was
well.
all of the tracks.
Yeah, it was all the tracks were terribly mixed, and then Mick Gordon came out and said, "I would never do it like that. They did it without my permission. Someone else did it. I'm probably not going to work with id Software again." And that was that. And then
It's been 3 years, 4 years now.
Yeah.
3 years, I think. 2 years, maybe.
Almost 3.
Almost 3.
Yeah.
Was Doom Eternal 2020?
2020, yeah. So it's been over 2 years since.
Because it's Animal Crossing
And
Day
then-
2.
And then a few months later, no wait, it was. Well, I can't remember the time frame, but anyways, Marty Stratton made a Reddit post and said, "Yo, this Mick Gordon guy we worked with, he sucks at his job." Pretty much like that. He said he did a really good job. We were trying to keep him on track, and he just he would kind of delay some tracks when we needed them. And then Mick Gordon came back with a 10 to 15 page response saying, "Yeah, the reason why it was so hard to work with them because I had to get tracks done for levels that weren't even complete yet. They were giving me demands that I could not work with under these conditions, the aforementioned threats."
I don't know a lot about the
Yeah.
situations, and obviously I'm not a part of it.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming, just as an outsider looking in, that both parties have a little bit of fault.
Yeah.
I think one or the other may be more so at fault, but the fact is, when it comes to game development, if you're essentially signed to do something, like Mick Gordon asked to do music, they give you a time frame. If you're not done within the time frame, then that's very bad for the development process. Sure, it's better if they have more developed assets to show, this is what this level is going to be, the music's going to be, but you can still get a song done without it. And I don't want to be that guy, but I think if you played any of the Doom Eternal songs on any one of the levels, they would have done the same thing. For me, anyway, I wouldn't have noticed a difference.
Yeah, true. But like according to Mick, they said like the time frame was very unreasonable for them to get it out. Like make a song and get it out. That's was his complaints. Like, yeah, there's a time frame plus the harassment. So, like, in his side, he said... I'm just
curious, because 2016 Doom had no issues from what I imagine. Yeah. And so, like, either something changed internally or somebody got butthurt somewhere.
Yeah. There could have been issues, but they could have just been minor.
Could have,
or it could have been, like, if there was issues, Mick or the whoever's hired him, could have just ate it and been like, okay, we'll just deal with it, especially since they probably had plans to do another game, especially after the popularity of that one. Yeah. The first one anyway. But who freaking knows, dude? The more I've learned about developing, and I think we've seen many cases where somebody will come out allegedly against a development company, and then they're like, whoa, we've got receipts. This isn't how it happened. I mean, I think the Helena Taylor one was she the one that came out against it, or was there somebody else?
She came out against Platinum.
Yeah, she came out against Platinum.
It was Helena though, not because Jennifer Hale's the one that replaced her.
Yeah, so it was Helena Taylor or Helena Taylor.
Helena Taylor.
Yeah, and then
tongue twister.
Yeah, literally.
And but apparently that was like a different mess where she like kind of lied on some stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I guess I don't really know what I'm trying to say because I don't remember where I was going with this whole thing.
So Bethesda released a statement, and all the statement was like, hey, we didn't like what Mick Gordon said. We support these guys. Oh, and if there's any, like any slander stuff, we'll take legal action. All right, have fun. And everyone's like, screw you.
But they never post. The thing is from what I hear, I'm with Cole. I haven't really followed it that much. But from what I hear is Mick posted a lot of, he posted some receipts, evidence, and Bethesda never did. They just said, oh, well, we have the evidence and we'll take legal action.
Did he post evidence, Mick Gordon?
Yeah.
That's from, like I said, I haven't seen it. This is just from what I've read on like Reddit and other people following the story. Is that Mick
Google it?
Stuff.
I'm curious. I want to see what the actual
on a personal website on his personal website. He'd had a long article, and there were pictures, like documents documenting. I think had schedules like the NDA. Like apparently, he also one of the other evidence was they probably paid him to say never talk about this.
Like an NDA?
Yeah, like a bribe almost. Like it wasn't an...
This is one of my biggest issues with the whole, like, maybe id sucks as a development company as far as like how they treat their employees. But obviously we don't know that. This is just one person coming out and saying like, hey, it wasn't a fun time working with them.
Well, he was freelance, and so...
Sure.
So how they treat like freelance people, like imagine what they do to like keep internal people quiet.
Yeah, and like I said, we don't really know. I mean, I'm sure you could do some digging and find stuff, but what I see as an issue, and this is the same thing with the Helena Taylor thing, is when you have people try to start, and Mick Gordon, by the way, I don't think he ever said boycott Doom. I think he said there was lots of good people that were working on it, that this is their livelihood, which is how you should go about doing it, because just because one person has a crappy experience...
Well, you kind of can't boycott it when it's been 2 years and there's been no new game coming out. It's
obviously.
There's nothing to boycott right now.
Obviously, because this is in retrospect, but... Going back to like the Helena Taylor incident where she was like, boycott the game, don't buy Bayonetta 3. And it's like, dude, I understand that you may have had a crappy experience, although evidence came out and showed that she lied anyway. But there's so many people that this is their job and their livelihood, that if something like this comes out and they're like, yeah, boycott this game, and then nobody goes and buys the game. I don't know the exact numbers, but I feel like most developers are taking a huge risk when it comes to developing a game because they make all their money on the back end. They put all the money up front. They have to pay all the workers, all the developers, everybody that's involved in the project, hoping that it sells well so they can make all their money on the back end. It's the same thing with like the movie industry and film. Like, you make all your money on the back end, so you're putting up a big risk. And when people say boycott this game because of so-and-so, it affects a lot more people than you can really even fathom. Not to mention it can totally stifle a franchise for its future releases. You know what I mean? Imagine that Bayonetta 3 flopped hard and then Platinum had to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
You're not getting...
especially after Babylon's fall. That was supposed to...
Now, I'm not saying you won't ever get another Bayonetta game or any franchise for that matter, because you could have another company come in and buy them out.
Sega owns them, so...
Yeah.
Sega owns the franchise technically, so Sega can just hire another...
Yeah, and a good example of this is like Bungie, when they first started doing games, before they did Halo, they had a mishap with one of the games they released where it was, I think, bugged, and people couldn't play it, so they had to buy back.
It was like a strategy game they had.
I think they bought back...
Yeah.
Did they buy back the copies? I don't think they fixed them. Maybe they did, but I just know that Bungie was really at the edge there, but then Microsoft bought them, and they were able to continue to develop. So I guess that's just an example of maybe your franchise or the development team won't completely go under if somebody else swoops in and buys them out. Regardless, though, when one person has a bad experience and then they say boycott this, it affects more than just that one person. You're talking about an entire development team.
I think it's Myth 2.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Yeah, apparently one of the later levels had like a terrible glitch in it.
Yeah. And mind you, this is something that Cole said a couple episodes ago too, is like, obviously I don't think boycotting is the solution. I don't know what the solution is. But like, a lot of these development companies have had lots of issues, lots of allegations and scandals coming out against them, especially somebody like Activision Blizzard. What's the solution though? Because if you don't buy the games, you're hurting lots more people than just the bad people. You know what I mean? I feel like there's more bad people, or there's more good people working at companies than there are bad people. And so when you have a few sour apples that you want to be punished and you want to see justice for, it not only affects them, but it affects all the good people working at said company too. And it just kind of sucks. It's sad. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't think anybody knows, for that matter. But boycotting and not buying games has a big rippling effect that I feel like most people can't really fathom, I guess. So I don't know. That's just kind of my 2 cents on the whole situation.
I can't find a lot. Like, I found out the whole article that he had wrote up and everything, and just from skimming it, and I didn't read it, obviously. I'm just kind of, like I said, I was skimming looking for pictures of evidence that he had to show. And I'm not trying to say he's a liar or anything. I'm more on his side than I would be on id's anyway, just in general.
Yeah.
But he didn't post, from what I could tell just from scrolling, he didn't post anything that was from id to him. Mm-hmm. All of the emails that he had screenshotted were from him to them, rather than them to him.
I see.
There was one, it's kind of a dumb one to be honest, that he posted that showed a screenshot of them to him, but all of the context was blacked out. It just showed that he received an email, and that's all it was. And so I'm not saying that he's wrong. Like I said, again, I'm going to reiterate that just so I can be clear.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know if there's a lot of significant details, but I'm not saying that he's not wrong. I want to be clear. Just, I'm not saying he's not wrong.
And that's probably the take to have, though, is wait till more evidence comes out, because going back to the Bayonetta 3 situation, everybody immediately jumped on Helena Taylor's side, and they're like, we're boycotting. We're not going to do it. You know what I mean? And then more evidence comes out where she lied.
With this, it seems that his biggest claim is that he hasn't been paid for some of the soundtrack.
Yeah,
and there's other things saying that the development was just a nightmare as well. But the main thing is that he says he hasn't been paid for the soundtrack. And if that is the case, then don't go online and say that. Get a lawyer involved if need be, if they're not going to respond. This is not how you go about doing this, in my opinion.
I think a lot of this came out 2 years ago. I think this is stuff that's being rehashed.
Yeah.
Not this article.
Maybe not the article, but just the whole, like, there was issues. There was issues when the game launched.
Definitely, but like, if he hasn't gotten a lawyer involved already, then why is he bringing it back up to talk about it right now?
I'm with you. I definitely think that people should try to.
If it's an issue with pay, he should get a lawyer.
Yes, it should be. This shouldn't. It's just one of these weird things.
He probably is going to seek legal. There probably is going to be a legal battle.
He definitely should. It's just weird that it just seems like nowadays the quickest and easiest, not the quickest and easiest, but like the way to rally, the way you rally people on your side as quick as you possibly can, like, I don't know how to word it how I want it to. I just don't think it's a good idea to air your dirty laundry over Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's good to be like, for Helena Taylor to say, yeah, F them, everybody else F them because you're on my side. And then Mick Gordon say, yeah, F them, everybody else F them because they're on my side. I don't think that's right. I think this needs to be done behind the scene. And then if it really doesn't get sorted out, even after the fact, then I guess go for it, because then you can rally people behind you. And granted, like you did say, this has been a couple years in the making, so maybe he has done stuff behind the scenes to try to get something, and it wasn't going anywhere, so he decided to air the dirty laundry on Twitter itself. Yeah. Once again, I don't want to say he's wrong because I don't know enough about the situation. I'm not trying to say he is wrong. I'm just pointing out this as a fact that I don't think that anybody should throw this out. Yeah. Without doing it behind the scenes.
I'm with you. Like I said, I think people should let both sides speak their piece and present evidence, and then you can decide for yourself, I guess, at that point.
But I don't think that should be done on Twitter. I don't think it should only be done between themselves.
Yeah, I'm with you. But like you were saying,
doing something like this just seems petty to me. It seems like, oh no, I'm losing. I need a win. Let's rally the people because everybody's on cancel culture. This will help me.
Yeah, no,
that's what I see this as.
I completely agree with you.
And I definitely want to root for the guy because I like his stuff that he's put out. I really enjoy the Doom soundtrack, for example, and he seems like a genuine guy from the little things that I've seen about him. Mm-hmm. But when I see stuff like this, it just nowadays even more so. It's almost like the boy who cried wolf at this point, where you don't actually know. But I want to believe him. That's the sad part. Is like I don't know, but I still want to believe them, even though who knows what it could be. But I don't think it's enough to go after id. I think it's enough. I think he should just take care of it himself with proper legal procedures if need be.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I think it does. It just sucks for all parties involved. Like imagine.
I guess I should point this out too. It's also douchey for the id Software guy to put it out on Reddit first, because it seems like he was the first one to shoot the blow.
Yeah.
He was the first. I'm gonna shoot my load over Mick. Yeah. And then he shoots it back, and that's bad. That's both sides are in the wrong for that in general. But it shouldn't. The dude, I think his name is Marty. He shouldn't have started it. Yeah, he shouldn't have started it. That's also stupid.
That being said, though, do you think it's okay for Mick to try and defend himself?
Sure. But I don't think he should have, unless this guy said something about it. But this is a good rebuttal to that, I guess. But at the same time, it still doesn't feel right. I think I would have been just as okay with him saying yeah, that's not true, but I'm still in a legal battle or something behind the scenes, so I don't want to talk about it. I could see him saying
that's probably the way to go about it. And honestly, what this reminds me of is a couple years ago, one of the big Fortnite guys was on the FaZe crew, and he did something similar where he quit FaZe and said he was going to sue him because of a whole bunch of stuff.
Contract dispute.
Yeah, I don't know what even came about that whole thing, but it's very similar, like what you're saying. And I feel the same way, where I don't think they should try to make their issues public.
It's just it's become the thing where if you're a social, not a social, almost like an influencer, or just a quote-unquote famous person online, it's become the thing where if you want to get your way, you just air it out on the internet, and everybody else will see it and then choose their sides, and then that's how you win your fights. And I don't think that's the right way to do it. I guess that's my piece on that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think I feel the same. It sucks because I don't know what the solution would be.
Sure, yeah.
Especially if, like you already mentioned, if this has been going on for a couple years and he tried doing stuff without people really knowing about it, because nobody wants to be, most normal people don't want to be in the media, especially dealing with something like this. You know what I mean? It just makes everything more complicated, I feel, anyway.
Yeah.
The Doom subreddit is on fire. One day it was just posting cool fan art, something they found in Eternal, wads wads someone made, and now it's just drama.
Justice for
engulfed Mick. Justice for Mick. Engulfed in drama. And it's man, why does this have to happen?
Yeah, I guess that's a great example of kind of what I'm saying is It shouldn't have happened like
Yeah.
that. I mean, it sounds like
It's-
Marty wasn't the one in the wrong first by even saying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, one side is clearly the one in the right? Like, this is one of those things that there's definitely one correct person. Maybe Mick is a terrible person to work with, or maybe id Software is just a bunch of incompetent people when it comes to running a business. I don't know. It's one of the two, probably, though. But once again, we probably shouldn't have found out about it as consumers. That's not one of those things that we really should know.
Kind of feel like I don't want to know because no matter what happened on both sides, both made a quality product. So
Oh yeah,
something-
totally. Like, it came out great.
Yeah,
The game's awesome,
it came out soaked in blood.
except for the UI.
It's
Well,
not that bad.
with that, I think we're going to take a break real quick. We're going to
Yeah.
take our little jump into our break and let our camera cool down for a little bit. See you guys in just a bit.
Hey Thane,
Yeah,
do you like watching YouTube?
yeah.
Do you
Every
like
day.
making YouTube videos?
Not really.
That's true because you've only made 3 this year. But did you know that you can
Penis.
go watch those 3 videos that Thane made this year on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/radkatz?
Did you see I did the thing that Thane did and I said penis halfway through your sentence?
Uh-huh. It was nostalgic for me.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Vagina.
Thane's wiener was nostalgic for you?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just like his videos are because they come out so seldomly that they're nostalgic for you?
Yeah, it's kind of like
I'm
an
the
event.
JonTron of the group.
It's an event when Thane releases a video.
Especially this last one, staying up till 2 a.m. and watching his video with him,
Yeah.
and then him going to sleep and going to work the next, in 3 hours later or something like that.
What a guy.
Crazy.
Okay.
But you can watch the whole thing on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this week, we released a video about battle royales. And
Going to.
yeah,
This is
going to.
Friday, Scott.
Oh,
Jeez.
shoot, you're right.
Spoiler. Whoa.
tomorrow,
Wowzer.
you're gonna get a video about why I quit battle royales.
What was did we upload a video last?
It was
Oh.
Thanksgiving. We took a break.
Oh yeah, right. My brain rot. Anyways, yeah, and I promise to upload more videos this coming 2023. I got a lot of video ideas and I hope you'll enjoy them.
Go subscribe today.
Love you. Hey, I like you guys, and so I want you guys to watch our stuff. And one of our stuffs that we have is another podcast called Life is Daijobu.
We love you.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, you probably like podcasts, I would assume. I mean, if you're already halfway through this thing, and you don't like podcasts, what's wrong with you, I guess? I mean, there's plenty like not podcasts to watch, but because you're here, so you gotta like podcasts, no doubt about that. I think we've settled this. We figured it out. The second thing we gotta find out is if you like anime. Do you like anime?
I do.
I wasn't asking you.
Well, I'm speaking for the people.
Stop.
Oh, okay.
Do you like anime?
Yes.
Thane, what the freak is wrong? Oh my
I'm the
gosh. You're not supposed to answer. Okay, round 3. Do you like anime? Oh my god. Okay, yeah. If you like anime, check out our anime podcast, Life is Daijobu, where we talk about anime and we consume it with you in book club style. Check it out today at Life is Daijobu. LifeisDaijobu.
And also, if you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, we got weekly Chainsaw Man episodes. So come and watch those.
Oh, by the way, I secured the Life is Daijobu on YouTube.
Nice.
That was a win.
Nice.
That was a win.
I gotta figure out how to change my at for my channel.
You're gonna change it from DC to Big PP.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Subscribe today.
Hey guys, we have an OnlyFans. Just kidding. It's a Patreon.
Oh, I wanted to say weenie.
And even if we have Patreon, we can still show our nude photos because Patreon can't say no, right, guys?
Yikes! Isn't there supposed to be like, I consent, and then Patreon in the back just I don't behind you?
Yeah. Anyways, no nude photos, but we do got extra content.
Oh, we need to put your God of War on there still, don't we?
Oh
you
yeah,
put it on
I
there.
already did.
Oh, we did that?
Yeah,
The
I
uncensored version.
Ooh,
Oh yeah, we got
uncensored.
uncensored God of War video. It's the same video, but now the black bar over the boobies is gone.
Oh, dude, watching him freaking animate the black bar over the boobies was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
They need to learn how to do better with that because he was doing it frame by frame. I was just like, I'm not gonna tell him how to change that. I'm not gonna tell him how to edit differently. I'm just gonna let him go for now.
Yeah, it's like I know
It's
there's.
brutal.
I
2
know
a.m., I want to kill myself.
I know there's an auto tracker.
Well, you could. Oh, so okay. We'll do a
Yeah.
little Adobe Premiere little lesson right now. You don't have to do it every single frame.
Yeah.
You can go like every 5 frames and it would be good enough.
Yeah, I know,
Every
but
10 frames.
You should do
I've-
like I would do, especially if you got a. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
Well, I
Don't-
thought we
don't
were
do
doing a
an op-
premiere.
This is an ad.
Don't do a premiere.
Yeah,
don't do
why
a
not?
tutorial in an ad.
What's wrong with that?
Okay. No.
They love it.
Go look it
That's
up on
why they're
YouTube.
here.
All right. Anyways, yeah.
We got boobs on Patreon. Check them
boobs
out.
on Patreon,
They're
And also
from
a-
spider ladies and stuff.
and also we got a bonus Patreon podcast up on there.
Yeah, we
Okay.
do.
How many episodes we got so far, boys?
Enough.
Almost 2
Yeah.
years worth.
Nice. All right. So if you want more content, you've already binged us. Go to Patreon and watch more. It's only $5 for the bonus podcast.
And then
And-
$1 for the boobs.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest boobs you can buy.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah.
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 Subscribe.
Subscribe today.
Subscribble. Welcome back from the jump, everybody. Did you see that? I was like, it was in the air almost.
If you listen to the ad, you heard us talk about boobies.
If
Yeah.
you hit the little tap like 10 times to skip over, we hate you.
and
Yeah.
you didn't get to hear us talk about boobs in the ad.
I'm just kidding. We love you.
So, friends, it's been over a week now, almost 2 weeks by the time this podcast airs. That
It would be 2 weeks.
2 weeks by the day this podcast airs. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has come out, and my goodness, has it garnered so much attention, both love and hate, and the internet is kind of on fire because of these games.
Yeah, it's a common thing by this point. It's like, oh, new Pokemon game, time to start Flame Wars.
Yeah, time to start pooping on it.
So I'm just curious about that.
Even here's the thing, even if like Pokemon has a renaissance or resurgence, people will always be pissed.
It's just weird to me that everybody's always pissed specifically about Pokemon. Because, like, thinking about it, like, there are tons of games that release all the time that might be a little underperformance, like, frame rate and stuff like that. And you don't see the internet freak out about them. It's always specifically Pokemon. Even if it's good, they still freak out about it. There's always something. They can find something to freak out about.
God of War Ragnarok, like the games are running fine so far, but there are times, like these are minor, but there are times where like you'll notice like technical graphical glitches, like when you pop up the menu, like your equip menu, Kratos is supposed to be holding his axe, but his axe just won't be there when he's like
So he's doing this, but he's not. got no
he
axe.
doesn't have an axe.
But nobody freaks out about that.
And then there's a cutscene I was playing where the compass didn't disappear and it kept moving with the camera. It's supposed to be gone, but it's like, oh, okay.
But I
It's
haven't
just-
seen anybody complain about this.
Yeah, I know, but like that's because it's minor. Like I'm just saying that games don't come out perfect these days. Like
Sure,
because
sure,
it takes
sure,
so
sure.
much time, and you kind of want to get it like out of date. You don't want to keep delaying it like a Cyberpunk. And then again, Cyberpunk just came out like a hot garbage fire.
So, obviously, I'm the Pokemon simp of the group. I won't deny that. But I also can't deny that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are the best running games of all time. Because they're not. And they look poopy.
Yeah.
They look very bad.
And I have to applaud you though, because it takes a true fan to admit that something they like is inherently, I don't want to say bad.
Well, the gameplay loop is phenomenal.
Yeah,
No doubt about that.
Before we get into it, I just want to say that I think Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they're great video games that just run like a freaking bike with no tires.
And they look bad.
And they look bad.
At least they got pretty colors. Like, I will give them that. They got a good color palette.
Yeah.
Compared to Legends Arceus, that color palette was just dirt poopy.
The only thing I could say that looks good is the Pokemon. At least they put enough effort into.
Oh, like all the textures and
Yeah.
stuff on them.
Models
Yeah.
and stuff.
The models do look good. Like
Yeah.
there's like even indentions where you feel like there should be, where on
Mhm.
previous
Did
games
they
it was just a flat.
Did
Like
they
their mouse,
improve?
for example.
Did they improve like the movement? Because in Sword and Shield, sometimes like Scorbunny use top kick and it would just do the hopping animation.
It's the same. That's still the same.
Oh.
That'll always be like that. They're never going to change that.
Yeah.
There's no reason to. How long are you going to keep the move tackle on your Scorbunny?
That's
You're
true.
getting rid of that as soon as you can. So of course you're going to have the animation be boop boop.
But you
don't need to do anything.
You got to admire the dig animation. It's just a couple wiggles and then you're instantly in the ground.
Yeah.
I will defend this a little bit just because they put a lot more effort into other moves for good reason, because those moves are either A, good moves that are going to be used a lot more, or B, Pokemon exclusive moves or like their signature move. So they'll get more animation for that. And then the other thing is a lot of these moves, many Pokemon learn them. And so you've got to come up with something that you can apply to a good number of Pokemon.
Yeah, especially like if you've got Thunderbolt on a bird Pokemon and you also have Thunderbolt on a dog Pokemon.
Exactly.
They're going to be a little bit different, but it's the same move.
It's got to be the same, roughly the same animation. It's got to work for multiple Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why you see signature moves be more animated, fantastically, if you will, because they're only used on one Pokemon, so they can apply it to the Pokemon how they want to. That's my argument on the animation of the moves. I think they did a better job with this one overall, with making each Pokemon seem like they're doing a better job, but there is still just the little hops and stuff.
Yeah. So
that's not going away.
Getting into it, though, aside from, we're not going to talk about the game running poopy. I think people have already beat a dead horse. Like, it's a shame and disappointing that the game runs as bad as it does. Whatever, okay? We're over that. Now I wanted to talk about some issues, and I kind of wanted to just get your guys' opinions on it, because this is some issues, like a podcast I listened to. This was, mind you, they love the game. They think it's a great game that runs crappy, kind of like us.
I wanna put one more thing out.
Yeah, go for it.
Game, just to, I guess, quote unquote, rebuke some common things that people say that are the reason for the game being bad. One of the biggest things people say is Pokemon franchise is one of the highest or the top media grossing franchises of all time. And they always say, why don't they put more money into the games? Well, it's because that's not how businesses work. When you think about something like Disney, if they make a Mickey Mouse plush, does the Mickey Mouse plush money go into making an Avengers movie? No. It doesn't even go into making the Mickey Mouse animated cartoon. It goes to make more plushes. And so just like that, Pokemon that makes plush, and mind you, over 75% of the revenue Pokemon makes is from their merchandise. That merchandise revenue is going to go back into making more merchandise. It's not going to go into the games. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, there can be a little bit of like play with the funds, but it's not really how that works. The money that the games make go to make games, and the money the merchandise makes go to make merchandise.
Yeah, whatever money comes from every Pokemon, it's Game Freak's decision whether or not to like fund a certain project. Like, oh, we got this much total revenue from everything, we can funnel one side of the money to do a project.
What do you mean? Define what you're meaning.
Like, say, oh, the anime's doing better.
Okay, that's incorrect. Game Freak does not have the say on that.
No, Pokemon Company. I said Pokemon
you
Company.
Said Game Freak.
No, I said Pokemon Company.
You did not. You said Game Freak. But you're
that's
right.
That's what I meant.
You're right when you say the Pokemon Company.
Yeah, Game Freak has no say. They're just a developer.
Correct. They do have a share in the Pokemon Company. Yeah. There is the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, Creatures, and Nintendo. All three of those own a share of the Pokemon Company. Yeah. But the Pokemon Company is what has the say when it comes to where the revenue goes.
Oh, we want a new movie. Let's fund this movie a bit more. Yeah. Then they can do that.
Which I feel like just having three companies be a part of one, and everybody's got
it's a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't even imagine. Not to mention it's a Japanese company, and they are already a whole nother thing of their own.
Yeah. And another thing that I was thinking about too with the games is the games are like kind of what kicks off everything else, right? So it's kind of hard to say, well, delay the game until it's fixed. Okay, well, if you're delaying the game, you got to delay all the trading cards. Correct. You got to delay all the merchandise, the anime, the manga. Everything is dependent upon these games, which is also another shame why the game runs so bad. But it's like I'm slowly starting to understand that anything with Pokemon, like Cole just mentioned, is a logistical nightmare because there's so much that relies on the releases of these games.
To put that logistical nightmare into perspective, let's say that something breaks in Pokemon Go. Just something simple like the other day. Here's actually a good example. Zorua, the Pokemon, was released into Pokemon Go, and the way you would encounter Zorua would be because it's the illusion Pokemon, it would appear as your buddy walking around in the overworld. If you clicked on your buddy, you could catch your buddy, and it would turn into Zorua just like a Ditto, for example. But there's a weird bug that if you caught it with the Pokeball Plus, you would just be catching a duplicate of your buddy instead of the Zorua. It would not turn into the Zorua, it would stay as your buddy. And so, obviously, Pokemon had to turn that off because they don't want you to make duplicates of any Pokemon.
Yeah.
Or either Niantic had to turn that off.
Yeah.
But they couldn't tweet about it until a day later. They couldn't tweet about it the moment they did it. Because the way that it works is Niantic has to go to the Pokemon Company International, which has to go to the Pokemon Company Japan and ask them if they are allowed to tweet this thing. And then they say yes, and then they say yes. Niantic writes up the tweet, sends it to the Pokemon Company International, which sends it to Japan, and Japan says, yeah, that tweet's fine. And then they say then International says the tweet's fine to Niantic, and then they can tweet it. That's basically how it works.
That's a nightmare.
Everything has to go through Pokemon Company Japan. And if it doesn't go through it, if it's like a really like, wow, things are bad, we need to tweet this out, they can get like quote unquote like an emergency tweet or something. Like that can happen. But for the most part, that's why you see things very delayed with Pokemon. Like you don't see like a response instantly.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've got 3 big companies that are all trying to work together to, I guess, function. And big corporations have a hard time functioning sometimes.
Sure.
So now imagine having 3 wieners trying to all function at the same time. It's just a mess. And the more I learn about Pokemon, the more I'm like, wow, it's an awe to me that they're able to do what they do because of all the hoops that they have to jump through. But I've heard other arguments of people are saying, well, how come Nintendo gave their seal of approval? And it's like, listen, dude.
Nintendo doesn't like can't worry about them always.
Well,
Nintendo doesn't do seals of approval anymore, for one.
Yeah, they do.
And for 2, they're just publishing it.
Yeah.
They're just basically making the
pretty
cartridges.
much the seal. Nintendo seal has said, "Hey, this is an official product."
Correct.
Well, I'm sure they have to have some say, especially when it goes to the eShop.
There's quality assurance.
Yeah.
That's why That's why back in the 90s they used to say seal of quality, even though some games weren't exactly quality.
But it's also like this though: is what's Nintendo gonna say to Game Freak? They're like,
yeah.
Why don't you make better games? And then Game Freak's like, well, we just sold 10 million copies.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of the metaphor, it's kind of like a metaphor would be telling your kid who never studies and gets all A's, and you're like, why don't you spend more time studying? Kid's like, why? I get A's.
You're winning.
Yeah, and Game Freak's winning. Also, I don't think this is just a Game Freak thing's fault, as we already mentioned. A lot of the other things that come into play when it comes to a Pokemon game. It's just Game Freak is the developers, so that's who gets all the flack for it.
And then one final note I have on just the performance of Scarlet and Violet, and I can't 100% confirm this because I've not tested it for myself, but from what I understand, version 1.0 runs better than the current version of the game. During the day 1 patch, there was something that might have went screwy, which might have dropped their performance. Because I've heard multiple people say that the version 1.0 runs better, and a month prior to the launch of the game, they had a bunch of influencers go to New York and they played the game, and they've all said that the game ran fine. They had 0 issues with the game running poorly. And there's even some reviews of the game before the game came out that said had zero performance issues. Like GameSpot, I believe, was one of those that said they had 0 performance issues, and they were probably playing that pre-patched version, where the reviewers that said they had performance issues were potentially playing the patched version, which is very interesting that a patch is what potentially caused a lot of these issues.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. That reminds me of Fez, how they were working on a patch. Do you guys anyone remember the game Fez?
Yeah. With the crazy guy that made it?
Yeah, Phil Fish. So they had a patch that was supposed to fix something. It broke even more things, so then they had to make a patch to remove that patch.
Yeah. And then historically, Game Freak has been able to patch game-breaking things within the first 2 weeks of the game's launch. Now, this won't mean that the performance or the FPS is going to shoot up to like stupendously. I guarantee you we will definitely still see pop in. There will definitely be distance FPS, like you'll see the windmills moving at like 3 frames a second. That's not going to go away. That was in Legends Arceus. We're going to see that in this one no matter what.
That's just if you go away from a windmill.
It's just like you see it in the distance. You can see it slowly moving.
That's common in games where it will drop frames from textures just to preserve performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've seen that in like what was it, Hyrule Warrior?
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. That's common, especially when you have a shit ton of enemies just swarming the screen.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, in like X and Y was like the first game they could push updates to. There were previous updates to other games, like Generation 3 Ruby and Sapphire had updates through interesting methods. You could send in your cartridge to Nintendo, they would update your game. If you did like a distribution, that would update your game. If you connected it to Pokemon Coliseum, that would update your game, for example. But X and Y were the first ones that they could really do online updates for games. And at launch, X and Y had essentially a brick in your game. If you saved in a specific town, it would brick your cartridge.
Yeah.
That was patched within 2 weeks. Sun and Moon, I don't really know off the top of my head. Sword and Shield had performance issues fixes within the first 2 weeks as well. So I'm not guaranteeing, but I'm betting that we'll see performance updates in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Especially since it's so easy to patch a game these days.
Exactly. Yeah, it's even easier than it was on the 3DS.
Yeah, back in the day, you had to make sure the game had almost no glitches, like kind of like Sonic Adventure 2, the first early copies of the Dreamcast. Oh wait, that was a anti-piracy measure, right?
Yeah, where you get stuck on the Eggman level.
Some people said like that was a glitch in the early copies, and it might have been. They might have accidentally sent that glitch out in the full copies. I heard they had to recall some copies, and that might have been it. They might have actually added the anti-piracy measure in the final product.
Yeah.
And then they had to recall copies.
I will give my final thoughts just on the performance and stuff before I guess we get into like what we like about it or whatever you wanted to talk about. Is that the games should obviously perform better and they should definitely look better. If you've got something to compare like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which came out 4 months now ago in July. I think that's 4. Yeah, that's 4. Good job, Cole. Math. Wow. 4 months ago, we had Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That game looks outstanding for the Nintendo Switch, and it performs surprisingly well for the Nintendo Switch.
Even on handheld mode?
Surprisingly even on handheld. Better than Xenoblade 2 anyway.
Xenoblade 2's handheld mode
Xenoblade 2 sucked
awful.
handheld. This one's not bad on handheld.
Yeah.
And they had 5 years to make the game. Like that's a big reason why they were able to do it. But Pokemon doesn't have that luxury. They typically have a 3-year development cycle.
Yeah.
But they definitely, in my opinion, they definitely need to do a little bit more outsourcing when it comes to just developing. They need to do more stuff because they have creatures incorporated that makes all the 3D models.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually developing the game, Game Freak's the one that's doing most of the heavy lifting. There are some other things like mocap studios, for example. But when you even look at Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and then you look at Scarlet and Violet, they look like they're 20 years apart rather than 6 months apart, and the other way around.
Yeah. I think like a company who could help them out, who could help, is Namco Bandai, because they made an engine for like the 2 games they released. So it's
and that's hard too because those games are very specific on what you're able to look at. Like they can make anything look good that's like right here.
Yeah.
But they've never made a map, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
they've made
like,
an on-rail shooter and they've made a fighting game with a very enclosed arena.
But I mean, like, if they make like a variant for open world RPGs, I'm pretty sure they could pull
doubt
it
it would
off.
work as well as you're thinking.
They'd have they'd probably have to like overhaul the engine.
I agree that Bandai Namco could help a ton with the series.
Kind of like how
I
they
disagree
helped
that it would be as substantial as you're thinking with the way it
probably.
looks. I don't think
That
any
engine,
Pokemon game is going to look as good as new Pokemon Snap until, I don't know, there are 10 years or so.
It's kind of like when EA told BioWare to use the Frostbite engine for their RPGs, and developer came out, it's like it was not designed for RPGs. It was designed for shooters.
When it comes to engines in Pokemon,
yeah,
the Pokemon company's basically been using the same engine since Red and Blue. It's just been modified over the past 25 years, and they know how their engine works.
Yeah.
Like, that's why they're able to make the mechanics as well as they do.
Then again, they could just go with all the trends, everyone else, and just use the Unreal
That
engine.
will never happen. I promise you that. It's
Probably.
always going to be the Pokemon engine that they've been using for 25 years. Okay, that's enough about performance and all that jazz. What did you want to talk about the games in general?
Just what we liked about it.
It's
Just
a good game.
the good positive
Surprisingly,
parts.
a very good game. Probably one of the better Pokemon games we've had in a while.
Yeah, honestly, this is the first Pokemon game I bought day one ever, and I was addicted to it. We have several buddies that haven't touched Pokemon in years. They picked it up, and they said that this is probably their favorite game, their favorite Pokemon game. Man, it is just so much fun, and the gameplay loop is so addicting. I love traversing the open world. As not good as it looks, it's still so much fun. I feel like the map is built in a way to where I just want to keep going and looking at every nook and cranny.
It's designed surprisingly well, especially knowing that it's the same company that designed the maps on Legends Arceus, which is a mess in my opinion. The map design for that game is not good. But this game is very good. Very impressive map design here.
They might have had a different map designer for the game.
I think they definitely had different teams working on it.
Because Arceus, I forgot Arceus came out this year, in March.
Arceus was their other team.
Was it February?
It was either January or February.
Yeah.
Elden Ring came out in February.
Might have been January.
At the Game Awards, Arceus is going up against Elden Ring for best RPG. It's
what a joke.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Arceus was developed by their B team, I believe, and then Scarlet and Violet was their A team. Game Freak has two separate teams.
Yeah.
They might even have a third one at this point, but the two separate teams are what develops the Pokemon games.
Isn't usually the B team that develops Pokemon games?
The B team develops like the third versions or the remakes, while the A team develops the main games.
Yeah.
Occasionally they'll kind of like split people off, and from either of those teams, and they'll make their own random game, like an indie game kind of thing. But for the most part, it's the two separate teams making Pokemon games. Like as soon as now that Scarlet and Violet is out, I bet the majority of that team is already working on Generation 10 right now. They probably started on it a month or two ago. When the B team is working on what I'm assuming is going to be DLC for Scarlet and Violet, and probably a lot of bug fixes right now as well.
Yeah.
And the B team is mostly comprised of younger developers. And the A team has some more younger people in prominent roles, from what I understand. But there's still a lot of the original Red and Blue developers in the A team still.
Yeah, like when it comes down to it, it's not really budget or technology. It's more like talent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how and management, how they're and game direction.
I don't know this for sure, but this is how I think of it. That at Game Freak, you've got two different types of developers there. You've got the old guys that have been there since Red and Blue, that don't really know how to make a modern 3D game. And they got the new guys that sort of do know how to make a modern 3D game, but they don't have enough experience to really make something great.
Yeah.
So they put them together, and it works. Like with Scarlet and Violet, the gameplay mechanic, the gameplay loop is really, really good in this game. It's phenomenal.
It seems like they're improving.
Definitely.
But
They're
kind
definitely improving. No doubt about that.
They're kind of still far a ways away from making like a truly awe-inspiring product that will unite the Pokemon fandom.
Yeah. There are some weird things in Scarlet and Violet that they took away that were in Sword and Shield that are kind of dumb. I hate the fact that you have to craft TMs, but they're not unlimited. That's dumb. But, I mean, it's not that big of a deal unless you're a competitive player. But, like, when it just comes to general gameplay of Scarlet and Violet, it's just really, really good. I thought I'd miss the overworld catching mechanics from Arceus even more, but I really don't miss it that much, which is very surprising to me. I thought that'd be my number one hate about the game, but it really isn't my number one hate. It's the TM thing. Like you had said, though, Sky, the open world, just the exploring is really, really good. The movement feels pretty dang good, even riding around on your little dragon. It's not bad at all. And, like, I think we saved the best for last. The story in this game is surprisingly good for a Pokemon game. in my opinion, the best, minus Scarlet and Violet, the best Pokemon story is Sun and Moon. I think Sun and Moon is the best Pokemon story of all time.
Oops.
Until Scarlet and Violet. I think Scarlet and Violet took that throne.
You know what's sad about that, too, though, is a lot of the takes I've seen from people is they want to be able to just skip the dialogue entirely because they're like, well, Pokemon stories are just bad. And in my head, I'm like, how would you know, though, that this one was going to be bad if you didn't pay attention to the story? And I feel like lots of people are missing out on that.
Yeah. Without saying any like spoilers about the story, I will just say that this story is a smaller scale, if you will. Like, the traditional thing with Pokemon is I've got to save the world. I'm a 10-year-old and I'm going to go out and save the world by defeating the bad guys. That's my goal and that's what I'm going to do. This game does not do that. You are not a 10-year-old saving the world. You're just a 10-year-old. You're just a 10-year-old doing his daily life in Pokemon world and doing his thing and seeing the world and seeing what troubles people have, what troubles people don't have either as well. It's awesome. I really enjoy the 3 main characters of the game. That you follow their story because of the way that it's such a simple and
relatable, I would
very
say.
relatable story. It's very well crafted. The dialogue is surprisingly well, aside from the random cringy Zoomer language they use sometimes. But it works. It surprisingly works very, very well. Sun and Moon has a similar story to one of the stories found in Scarlet and Violet. And I would say that one takes a bit of a harder tone, but I think Scarlet and Violet's delivery is better overall. Granted, I will say Sun and Moon is a better resolution. Scarlet and Violet, you don't get a resolution. You just get the end and no, I guess not resolution. Post, like epilogue. And Sun and Moon, you get a little bit of an epilogue for the characters. Scarlet and Violet, you get nothing, but that might come with DLC. You might get epilogue with that. People always claim Black and White's like the best story of any Pokemon game. They're wrong. It's the best story of any 10-year-old saves the world Pokemon game. Sun and Moon isn't necessarily a 10-year-old save the world either. That's why it does well too. But
yeah,
very, very good Scarlet and Violet story. I don't want to say any spoilers, but dang, dude. I'll just say this. Nimona was such a funny character to me the entire game, but at the very end, she said something that hit me like a truck, and I was like, wow, that is the most relatable Pokemon character I've ever had in my entire life. To me, specifically. Like, she fits me to a T, not to anybody else. Like, some people won't relate to that, and other people will. Like, that's just what's so great about this story is you got 3 main characters that someone will relate to. One person won't relate to some, and the others will relate to others, and that's what's so good about it.
Yeah, I would say overall, like I guess just my last 2 cents on it is if you're a Pokemon fan, I think you're going to really like this game. I think even if you're not a Pokemon fan, this could be a game you could pick up and just thoroughly enjoy just because the gameplay loop is super addictive. Like we already said, it's sad that the optimization is so bad, but that didn't hinder my experience with this game. I still had lots of fun doing Pokemon things in a Pokemon world, aside from the chugging that my Switch would do every so often, because it's not like it was, I mean, it's bad, but it aside from the crashes, there was nothing that really hindered my experience.
I would relate the experience that I had with this game very similarly to Cyberpunk 2077. I played both games at launch, and both games ran pretty bad at launch, and I was still able to enjoy both of them very, very thoroughly. I got my money's worth out of both of them, definitely. I'm going to get even more money worth out of Pokemon, let's be honest.
And there's a DLC for Cyberpunk coming out.
Yeah.
Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, honestly, like, Cyberpunk had a bit of a rocky, that's an understatement, a hugely rocky release, and I still enjoyed it despite the bugs and the glitches, and I was the same way with Scarlet and Violet. It's unfortunate that games come out like this. We talk about this, I swear, at least every other podcast, that games come out unfinished nowadays, but it's almost one of those things that happened, especially because of like the COVID era. And Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was developed during the COVID era, which is partly why I would think that it's not as well performance-wise, just because for a good portion of the development, people were working at home.
Yeah,
they weren't able to like collaborate with each other very easily in an office, for example. And I feel like we're getting to the end of that era with COVID games. So that's kind of a positive to look forward to.
Yeah, agreed.
At least Pokemon's being treated better than Halo.
Halo had a great launch.
I would disagree. I think people crap on Pokemon way more than Halo.
Yeah, I would.
People are
disagree
saying
too.
it's a bad game just because it performs poorly.
Yeah, that's.
Without even playing
I
the
don't
game
even
themselves.
agree with that.
I've literally seen people go online and say, "I've not played the game, but I know it's bad."
What do you What do you think about the new gimmick? Like they keep having a new gimmick every.
the terrestrialization.
Yeah.
I think it's a very interesting gimmick specifically for competitive. I think it's a dumb story gimmick. I think the best story gimmick was either Dynamax or honestly, even Z moves aren't bad for story. Okay, I'm still gonna give it a Dynamax. I think Dynamax is the best gimmick for story. I think terrestrialization might have the best gimmick for competitive. I really like Dynamax for competitive, but I think it might work better. I think this might work better for competitive. It's because you have a whole new edge. You don't know which type your Pokemon that you're going to fight is. There's going to be meta that people are going to kind of stick to. Like, you're typically going to see this Pokemon as this type. But you might get thrown a curveball, you know? You might see something that you're not expecting, and that's kind of a fun element with competitive, in my opinion. But Dynamax for sure is the best for story, just because that game was heavily focused on the gym challenge, and then you can see a big Pokemon fight big Pokemon in the gym battles, and it just worked really well.
I like how you're saying. I liked how they integrated it into the story too. It like gave reason for the mechanic. Yeah. It wasn't just there to be there.
Terrestrialization, I think, is very poorly implemented into the story itself, especially in the end game. I don't want to say spoilers, but there's a time when I felt like for sure we were going to do a raid battle and we didn't, and I felt very strange about that. I'm just going to point that out, and that would have been an obvious moment for a terrestrialization raid battle thing, and it didn't happen. It just seemed like they wanted a really cool gimmick for competitive, and they didn't know how to put it in the story, so they just kind of shoehorned it in.
Yeah.
A good gimmick, though, for competitive, like I said. I think it's going to have some really interesting implications into the competitive scene. And I'm excited for the World Championships for the next coming years, just to see what people are going to do with it.
Yeah. Like I already said before we close, I think overall it's a great game, and I think if you enjoy Pokemon or want to get back into Pokemon, I feel like this is a great game to start that with.
And aren't you glad the whole game's on the cartridge, unlike Call of Duty, where only 70 megabytes of the game is on the disc?
Oof.
Well, with that, everybody, thank you guys for watching this
Thank
episode.
you.
We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts down below. Other than just saying it's a bad video game, I don't think that's very constructive criticism.
What did you think about Scarlet and Violet? Do you also hate the TM thingy? I hate it a lot.
I didn't play it because I was playing God of War, and Callisto Protocol's coming this week. Yeah, this week. So
yeah, we got a lot
Pokemon's
of stuff.
not on my schedule. Psh, get that shit.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week. And as always,
keep it rad.